Stop. Start?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for spending your Friday morning, 8 a.m. with us. I appreciate all of you guys for coming. For you guys that don't know me, my name is Jimmy Ness. Briefly, a quick bio on myself. I'm a plumbing contractor. I do a lot of specialty in water safety testing and mechanical water components and stuff like that. I kind of got out of the snaking business because it's really not that pleasure of a job to have. So I just kind of specialize in water safety currently. A lot of you guys may know that I have two daughters, Lila 14 and Lila 8 and Zoe 14 years old. And I'm trying to get them involved in service as much as possible. And so you'll see them, they tag along with me. Sometimes they do things behind the scenes, like they put together homeless kids and stuff like that. So they're both very active as well. Where I originally had come from was Seasoned Lions Club, Foster City Lions Club. It's a 54 or 55, 50, whatever. You're gonna get quizzed on this later, but it's me and my partner in service, Malai Wood, the band of white, taking pictures of you all without your consent. So, but we were in that club for a very long time, and we tried a lot of things there to help do service projects, and a lot of them were locked in on whatever, the 5 or 6 projects they had a year, and that was it. They didn't want to leave the border of Foster City, and anything that the younger generation came in with, it got denied. So there was a lot of working that myself, Malite, and Pierre Morrison had to do to try and help with that. So I'm not an expert in the subject of service projects, but I want to share with you guys kind of what we had done, what we did to help them realize it. Ultimately, we left and started our own cyber club. So I know the story sounds kind of weird. We were working with the Season Club, but we left, started our own cyber club 3 years now. And what we did with that one was, instead of just recruiting people off the streets and getting random people to come in, we chose our friends. We had a lot of friends that wanted to join Lions, and we thought that the Seasoned Lions Club wasn't a good fit for them. And so we created our own Cyber Lions Club, and it's pretty successful today. We have a lot of projects, a lot of international projects, and local projects. So that's a little bit of the bio. I'm going to spare you my favorite Ray Rosenthal story with the Creeper Band. You guys remember that one? So, in today's, we ready to go? Everybody cool? Coffee, bathroom, snacks? I don't have any snacks. You like snacks, dude. That's how I met you. I met Mariah, she was throwing Fruit Loops at me at a RLI. Anyways, so, we're going to start with service projects. So I'm going to ask you guys, what are some examples of service projects? Anybody, like volunteer, or I'm going to use my fancy laser and stick it on you. Yes?
We serve Thanksgiving dinner to needy families.
Awesome. Every year?
Yep.
And how do you guys fund that?
6 years.
And where do you guys get the money for that?
Donations.
Donations from the community?
Right.
Perfect. Mr. Peachy,
Yes, sir.
what kind of service project you guys got in Half Moon Bay? What's your favorite?
What's our favorite? Unloading 8,000 pounds of food every month for St. Vincent de Paul.
Perfect. So that's a true service project. You don't need to have any money to provide that service project. It's just sweat equity or sweat labor. Okay.
The average age is about 70 years old.
Wow.
Of our members.
Really?
That's it, Clayton.
He's the young buck. You two, right? Which one? Claudia Elise.
One of the things we do is annually we ring the bell for the Salvation Army and help them raise money to serve the homeless. And we have a group that goes in and does cooking in their kitchen to help prepare meals.
Another perfect, you don't need no funding, just go there and put it out.
Just go put in the sweat labor. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna ask you, because one of your big projects that you do in your club, you have to pay for it, and it's a service project. So what is yours, FASO?
For Bear Special Olympics, our favorite event is we hold 2 annual dances for the special needs community every year. We have a Halloween dance, and we have a Valentine's dance, and we're lucky enough most of the time to be able to use the Burlingame Lions Hall for free, and our DJ is free, but we provide pizza and drinks.
Nice. So that's cool, that's plus you have the hall for free, so you have to pay for that, then you got a free DJ, but you still have to pay for the food and the snacks and stuff like that. And then how do you guys raise those funds?
Bingo.
Bingo! Love me some bingo. Okay, so about service projects in general, that's kind of, we just went over like kind of how they are funded, if you need money for it, or if it's just a labor project. So I think we got a pretty good overview of that. Service projects, as you guys know, I just explained this to somebody, they're a key to our club's success, right? If you didn't want to help somebody out and you didn't want to make a difference in the world or be a humanitarian, you joined Lions for Politics and Drama. I highly doubt any of you in this room did that, right? You guys all joined because you saw a need or you had extra time, you guys wanted to do something. And that's highly important in your club, to keep that service project going. And I just told somebody, I go, in the season club, this is PDG Mario, I was like, I used to always keep that club busy, always had projects. Oh, ID Ken, hey bud, what's up, dude? You're coming in? Wow, grace for the presence of the ID. Yeah, all the way in the back, dude. This is like, I'm now on the opposite when you were my RLF instructor. So I said in the season Lions Club, you have to keep people busy, right? Because as soon as the busyness stops and there's not something for them to focus on, some of the people want to start drama, they want to go over the Constitution and bylaws, they want to raise dues and stuff like that. So it turns into kind of a hassle, and that's kind of why you have to keep your members busy. Service projects also, yes sir.
I was going to say, sometimes we like a weekend off.
Right. Well, then you're a good club, right?
We don't get them.
What's that?
Trust me and this one, we're always doing something, whether it's here or internationally to another country. So once again, service projects create the purpose for Lions and volunteering and engagement. Next slide. So sometimes you need to raise money for most service projects, right? Money doesn't just grow on trees. You don't wake up and you have money for your service project. Even if you're just picking up trash, you still need money. You need money for the garbage bags, you need money for the buckets or the pickup tools, etc. And then you have to ask yourself, where's that money going to come to fund that project? Now, in my district and in my club, we lean so hard on our members for money, right? This isn't the Rotary Club where you just throw a bunch of money at the problem and it just goes away. In Lions clubs, I feel like we're always asking for money, and it's always the same 25 or 30 people that we're depending on to come support these events. So we do ask a lot of our money and donations, and that's why we have to create service events so that we're not, pressing too hard on our actual members. And then it also creates natural networking. So, just in brief, we need to raise funds for service projects and that's what we'll be going over in this session. Our objectives, oh wait, let me go back to this. So these are just a couple flyers of a service project, barbecuing, and that was something in COVID that we had done. We were the first club, we were the first club in the district to keep doing service projects in COVID. So right as COVID hit, everybody's walking around these gas masks and stay home and you're gonna die if you go outside. Malay, myself, and the board at our club, we figured out ways to keep doing service throughout this whole process. And we ran, I think, five or six projects right in the heat of COVID. Selling pancakes to diabetics, the diabetes fundraiser, right? That was our first one. So, our objectives. I'm going to ask you guys, you have to ask, what's the idea or the cause for the event that you're creating? What is the need to make the idea a success? And then, is it money? So basically, what's the cause, what's the need? what's needed to make the event or whatever you're creating a success, and then what is needed to make this thing happen. Typically, it's money. It doesn't just happen, right? So here are our objectives for today. Mariah, can you read the first two? See, I caught you on your phone. Laser. Yeah.
What,
See laser?
where or what is the idea to help? Present the idea to the board.
All right. Elise,
One or
next
two.
two.
Form a committee and brainstorm the idea, committee to present the final plan to the board.
All right. Maka.
Project management and promotions and networking.
And PDG Fanny Chu. Never mind. You see it, Kevin? You see the last two?
Execute the event or project.
Perfect. And then debrief the event or the project. So those are those are the objectives we're gonna be going over this morning. Would you guys like to continue or do you want to dip out? Go get coffee.
See you later.
Maybe I can call it, have them open the bar up or something. So let's continue. So the first objective is what is the cause, where is it coming from, right? How did this come about? Who came through the door? Where you guys just wake up in a parking lot and start selling something. You have to figure out where this came from. Do you guys have any examples of somebody coming in with a idea? And if you have two examples, one idea that got shut down and then one idea that was a success. Anyone? Malay. Wake
Well,
up.
there's a lot of, when I was in my old club, whatever idea that I will bring in, because I'm the newer member in the club and I guess I'm one of the youngest, so it's always being shut down. So it's kind of tough, like me as a new lion in the beginning, it's hard for me to take like, how come they're not even engaging with me what my idea is about and for the better of the club. And then when we put up the new club, it's like all of our ideas together, it's really, we collaborate with each other and we make it happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when you were in the season Lions Club, how did you feel when your ideas got shut down? You kind of get discouraged, and we saw a lot of people leave Lions just because of that, right? So you have to kind of be, wanting to engage. So that's good. So for today's purposes, let's just say that somebody came in and we're going to supply, so the idea is to help fire victims of a town that burned down during a forest fire. Everybody from California knows that this happens quite a bit lately. And the idea just came from a concerned general club member, nobody from the board. So that's kind of where the idea came from and then how we're going to work to get that through. Objective 2, you're going to present the idea to the board and get it approved to proceed. Now this is one of the ones where even when I was president of the Seasoned Lions Club, I got beat up pretty bad. And if it wasn't for her, Malay, I got so discouraged at times. And she would always bring me back and go, it's okay, we're gonna keep moving, we got this, we'll figure out another way to move around it. So a quick question for anybody, how does your club approve projects? Kenny. I'm sorry. ID Ken.
You can be Kenny.
I like Kenny. I spell it with the I.
That's
though.
my mom. My mom calls me Kenny.
Kenny.
We run into the same issues where either one person wants to take off with a project, or or there's something that's immediate, and you don't have time to wait until the next board meeting. So we've gotten into group chats. We've gotten into group emails. With the advent of Zoom, we call them emergency Zoom meetings. But what you have to realize is that you got to look in your constitution on how to call a meeting, and that's where you have to really make sure that you take care of all of your P's and Q's before you gather and make decisions. But once you gather, you're fine. Then you make your decisions, make a discussion, and take your vote.
Thank you, because you just led me into the next thing I'm going to speak about, which is everything needs to be approved by the board, right? It's for insurance reasons, it's for your bylaws, it's to not to have drama, right? You can't just wake up in the morning, decide you want to do a service project with your Lions Club logo on it, sell alcohol, get everybody drunk, and then think that the insurance is going to cover it. It's not, you know, and you have to get everything. That's one of the things that we learned was they wanted to be, some of the season members, they wanted to be involved in the whole process, right? So, that's where we're at. We're presenting it to the board. So, for today's purposes, the board approves it. It's, from here, it's kind of sketchy, but the board wants an update after the committee has formed the project outline, was after the project outline has been created. So objective 3, so we form a committee. This is actually my club, and we are Harry's Hot Rock, the best place to eat, unless you're Malite. But anyways, so this is, you're gonna form a committee, right? You can't do this on your own. You have to have people that help you, whether it's at the lower level, or I have Rob, I have a guy that helps me do the flyers. He can't necessarily be there the day, he can't help the plan, but he'll do the flyers, he helps me do my slides, he helps Malite with all the back end stuff that he does. So that's huge, you know, he has kids, he's 45, he doesn't have time to do all this all the time, but he has a way to help. So one person, please, how would you get people to join your committee? Kevin.
First thing I do is call and ask, and then also if you haven't taken the time to get to know your members, most members want to do service, and so if it's something that speaks to their passion, you want to include them. If it's something that doesn't speak to their passion, you still want to include them because it's an opportunity to learn about the project and learn how to actually do projects and gain that experience.
Exactly. I mean, my club is so, I have some of the craziest projects that come through my little red head all the time, right? And a lot of them, like, I want to do stuff in Tonga. Most of our members are Tongan, but some of them aren't. But they're still, like you just said, they're still on board to serve. And then it also reciprocates, right? So you help me on this project, but I'm going to help you on the other project, even though I don't care about or I wouldn't say believe in it, but just because I don't want to be involved in it. So one key point is, remember, the less people on your committee, the better in the beginning, right? So you want to have, like, 4 or 5 people, maybe 6, right? And that way you guys can brainstorm, you can kind of get the ideas going, you get kind of the rough draft going on what you're going to do for the project. You can always add more people later on. It's not the end of the world, right? You don't have to start with the committee and end with the same number of committee. You can add them at a different point. Also, you're not necessarily asking for volunteers yet. I've found this to be an issue too. It's like, just because I'm asking you to be on the committee, and then people go, oh yeah, I'll volunteer, but they're just saying that they'll be there that day to volunteer. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to help you plan the event, execute the event, get the permits and all that stuff. So that has to be kind of clear, like, I'm asking you to be on a committee, right? I'm forming a committee right now, and 3 of the people just go, oh yeah, I'll be there. I'm like, no, I need you guys to help me, plan it and get everything executed. So that's with that one. That's kind of what happens when you're trying to ask committee members. And you have to ask people that are going to come through, that are going to follow through with it. You don't want somebody that's a flaky lion or, has a tendency not to show up or show up late. Your core committee members and your core leaders need to be people that are going to be dialed in and that are going to show up. So, I'll skip that one. So you're going to try and get people that are kind of like-minded with you is the best thing that I've noticed, right? So, I put here joke, but you don't want like a Mr. McGrumpy come in and with one of your younger lions, right? You want people that are kind of like, you don't have to be exactly, but you kind of want people that kind of get along, or they're kind of flexible, and they kind of can work together, and things like that. But like, people that know Wendell in our district or in our club, right? I'm not going to stick my brand new member with Wendell at a bar. I was stuck when I was a brand new member with Wendell at the bar, and it was a horrible experience. I had to kick him out of the bar after. I took his position over, but it's because it was just like, oh no, the bottle has to be here. It can't be there, And it's like, we're supposed to be having fun as lions, right? So The first thing about this is you're gonna set the date for the committee to meet, when you start finding people for your committee. Try and work around each other's schedules to try and establish that. Now we're obviously in the Zoom era, and it's kind of recommended, it's kind of not. Like I would say like the initial meeting you wanna have kind of in person, and then you can do some follow-up meetings via Zoom, and then you kind of wanna meet back in person a couple of times. So you're gonna meet, define the ideas of the project and brainstorm. You're gonna put together a plan. You're gonna establish the lead roles, like Ken's in charge of the volunteer sign up. Mariah's in charge of getting the food. Malight's in charge of getting the permits. Stuff like that. So those are now your leads of your project, right? Everything that has to do with that goes to that. I know Malight's looking at me like I'm crazy because they all, even though I establish leads on every event, they all come back to me for everything. Mo is the worst, but
This is why when you start signing up your committee members, have them, give them a task.
Yep.
Can you check the rec center and see if it's available? When are the openings? Can you check, where, if there's any policy changes on getting an alcohol permit? Just give them something to do so that they can, report at the committee meeting.
right, we're not there to have warm bodies. I'm not looking for, to fill a capacity.
Get your guy to start designing the flyer, even though you don't know the date and the cost of it yet.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the example that I was saying, Joe's in charge of cashless payments, right? So he's now in charge of all those cashless payments, right? Somebody comes to me, I actually purposely ask Malay, I purposely don't know how to do them, and it's on purpose. Because I don't want to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm in the middle of it, okay, here's a cash app, there you go, right? They need to go to the lead, because the lead needs to know if there's a problem, they sign in, all that stuff. So you have to establish the leads in this role. I actually put Malight here. Malight is in charge of health permits. Huh? I don't know how to fill out health permits. There's a reason for that. What's that reason? It's long, lengthy. But those are your leads. So objective number 4, committee to present the plan to the board. So now you're gonna present the idea that you've met with the committee, and you're gonna present it to the board for your approval. Now, does your club do voting via email or Zoom? Nobody does voting email.
We do it however it needs to be done. If we're in a meeting and it's in person and there's a decision to be made by the board, then right after the meeting, the board gathers that are there and they make a decision and approve it.
Perfect.
We have Zoom meetings, we've done email, we've done messenger. What has to happen is that core group needs to, if they need to make a decision, they've worked out multiple ways to get the decision made easily, quickly.
You need to be available. I mean, we were in a club, our season club, it was like, you'd have to wait till the next meeting to get it approved. And I think it was at COVID when we said, we'll change it to email. Or no, it was during the year of the Sheikah. We changed it to email because it was like, during her year, we had so many things and we couldn't wait the 2 weeks. You have a forest fire burning, right? And it's like, oh, you can't find anything until like 2 weeks, and we don't even know if that's gonna be approved in the 2 weeks. So it's very good that you guys can approve it. And actually, things by email is now legal. And it has been legal. So you can, contracts, everything can be via email now. There's no reason to have it in paper. So that's the quicker way to expedite your approvals for your project. So you're gonna present the ideas to the board and try and stay out of the board's attempts in replanning your service project. Because they will. And you have to be very, no pun intended, ginger about it. And you have to sit there. I mean, this is what I wrote. If the board tries this, just say that's a great idea, and you're more than welcome to join your committee and present the ideas with us. That's a little too blunt, I guess. Sometimes you have to say it like that. Like, do we appreciate your ideas? Come to the next committee meeting, help us figure it out. You have to throw it back on them.
Well, and it's a great opportunity to say, wonderful, how about you being in charge of that and bringing it to the next meeting?
Perfect. Exactly. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, one of the things you want for sure is people who will listen rather than keep talking over everything that anybody tries to say too, when you get volunteers.
Proper communication, right? Communication's two ways. We can, go ahead, Kathy. I heard that.
I agree, and we talk about this all the time. The most important tool is the willingness to consider.
Yep.
Willingness to consider. A lot of our seasoned lions miss opportunities to grow and actually be supportive because they will not consider what could be a potentially great idea and won't step aside to allow your younger lions or a new idea to come forward.
Just think about it. You don't have to make the decision right away. We're not.
So, yeah, and if you've got a new member on the committee, you give them an opportunity, give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't say, this is a better idea, say, oh, that's a good idea, how did you come to that? How did you guys decide to that?
Right.
Let them explain their reasoning.
So, I thought it was really interesting, in the Burlingame Lions Club, they still do the old red badge, blue badge thing. You join and you get your red badge so everyone knows you're new, and then you do certain things and you get your blue badge. And we always joke that to get your blue badge, you have to, go to a board meeting, run a service project, stuff like that. And we had a brand new member, Lion Michael, came in super enthusiastic. He sat down, he goes, okay, how do I get, I'm in my first board meeting, I want that blue badge like everyone else. And I said, oh, well, you gotta run a fundraiser, service project, whatever. And he goes, well, what's next coming up? And we said, oh, we're talking about bingo. He goes, done. And it was the most successful bingo Burlingame had in 30 years. It was practically sold out, and we made a lot of money. And I was like, that's
A
just let him
perfect
go.
example.
We just let him go.
Yeah.
We waited for him to ask what he needed from us. And Jimmy was there. Who knows?
Yeah. Did you have your hand up or are you just fixing your hair? I saw you had it from my peripheral. I don't want to miss you guys in the back. But that's usually where I sit in the back. I'm kind of unnoticed. That's where I met her going for roots in the back of my head. So, but today, for today's purposes, we just need to get approval and get started to make sure the project is off and running. Now, there's another one. Make sure that if you're doing this for a dedicated cause, right? Like you're, I don't know, selling sandwiches or whatever. Whatever the money is going to go to a specific cause, you need to say that in the committee. Because when you do a project and they see that you just made $10,000 off of that, I've had the Seasoned Lions Club, they wanted a percentage. They wanted to try and tax us for providing a service or raising funds because it wasn't clearly stated when we were trying to form the event. So they wanted I think it was 10% or they wanted 10%, and it was almost like a mafia mob style, right? Like you need to give us, you did this project, and they never mentioned it in the beginning. I'm not saying that we didn't mention it in the beginning, but it got shot down. We're helping people, we're humanitarians, we're not making money, this isn't a corporation. But some Seasoned Lions clubs, if you look at how their books are done, they're in QuickBooks, which is what? Like the old version of QuickBooks. And everything has to be line per line per line. And why are we doing this? Why is it under our insurance if we don't get a percentage? She's laughing because I remember Malite saw the look on my face when they wanted the percentage. I was like, we're helping people. And the percentage they wanted, it wasn't going to go anywhere special. It was just going to go to an account and just sit there, which the account's been moved anyways. But anyways, so object 5.
So you're saying the committee should make, even if it's not for a disaster, but just a general fundraiser, you should make it very clear what you're benefiting.
If anything, that's the number one, is make it clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or else it's going to go to the Lions Eye Foundation.
Or it's going to go to some bank somewhere in
Well,
Cayman Islands.
and if you want people to participate, you want the community to see you as a service organization, you should be saying
Oh,
where.
that's me. My bad.
Aha.
I think for myself. Sorry.
But no, you want people to know, it's going to local charities, it's going to Boys and Girls Clubs, you need to let people know what you're doing with the money.
Correct. That's same with the public too, right? When you're doing a service event, you have to state on your flyer kind of what you're doing. Like you're doing this for diabetes, right? but you don't want them to find out like, oh, we took that money and we went to Hawaii and we fed one kid in Hawaii, right? They're gonna be pissed that they did all this for the event. So anyways, on to objective 5, project management. So these are the things over project management. So you're gonna set up the next committee meeting. This is at your first committee meeting, you're gonna set up the next committee meeting right away. Because that takes a while. I hate it when we do that at the end. Because it's like, now you're just, everybody's like, yeah, I'll be there that day, I'll be there that day. And then you spend 50 texts trying to figure out who's available and stuff like that. So you're gonna go over the plan and the critical timeline. You're gonna finalize the event, date and time. You're gonna acquire the event venue, where you're gonna have the event. And then you're gonna schedule future dates for the committee to meet. I think I already went over, I duplicated that. You're also, the most important is you're gonna create the volunteer sign-up list with positions. Right? Now, you can use a sign-up genius program, but you will also, like a sign-up online sign-up program, but dude, you're gonna have to do a formal sign. If you have older members, you have to do both. They will resist the online thing like it's no tomorrow. They'll just, like, I don't want to go online. They'll be on Facebook with their girlfriends, but they won't sign up on a sign-up genius. So you have to have somebody that's intelligent enough to grasp it from the sign-up genius, and then take your piece of binder paper with your Sharpie, and be able to marry the two, and be able to manage that. So, also during your committee meeting, you're going to talk about flyer ideas, right? We kind of briefly talked about how you're going to create the flyer, but just briefly, just kind of give your flyer guy, we have a guy or a gal, hey dude, we want this, and that, send it to us for the approval, we'll make the adjustments. I mean, and then you move on from there. Now, there's also this thing called QR codes and Wufoo signups. I think I'm gonna go over that in the next section. In objective 6. Promotions and networking. So how do you, just real quick, one person, how do you guys promote your events?
Social media,
Okay,
Old-fashioned flyers.
friends.
okay. Kenny?
We have a thread, and we have access to all the emails, so it doesn't have to be mixed in with all the other things. So we do need to do emails, and we do need to do social media.
So, sorry, so yeah, you have to do all of it. Do you do the, get the flying guy on the side of the corner and that?
Action.
Have PDG,
Next drive to the bench.
PGD Mount Phillips on the side of the, anyways, so newspaper is one,
What's a newspaper?
trust me.
Newsletter.
In Foster City Lions Club, they would be like, you gotta be in the newspaper. We're friends with Mark Watson, we're friends with him.
Got a newspaper, yeah.
But they have to, like, I had one of them come up to me with the newspaper, flashing it at a meeting going, it says here in the newspaper that we're doing a barbecue, but we're not. So they still read the newspaper, that was Wendell. So, I'll introduce you guys to Wendell Stone, he's a good guy. Yes?
Our club has a partnership with our community services district, our Parks and Rec, and so we have some of our events get publicized because we have a partnership with them, get publicized in the activity guide that goes out to every Elk Grove resident twice a year.
That's what we do too.
The only problem we have is sometimes they change the name of the event.
Well,
That's what, that's the same thing that happened to me. So this guy comes in with a newspaper and he goes, they changed the event. I said, we didn't change the event. She just misspoke in her interview, We're not barbecuing, we don't have the infrastructure. So flashing this newspaper. So social media. I hope everybody in this room knows what social media is. Yeah?
It's a disease.
Instagram.
But it can work. It's good for lions, right? So, yeah, Twitter, Facebook, and the gram. I call it the
go
gram.
to a student speaker contest and they'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a disease.
Tell you all about it.
This year.
So, the other thing is, in our district, we have this thing called the thread, right? So it's basically you have an event, you put it on the thread comes out, you have to have it in by Saturday or Friday. It comes Friday? It comes out Sunday.
Sunday at 5.
Sunday at 5 o'clock.
It comes out, but you have to have it in by Friday.
Friday at noon.
Trust me, I've been late so many times, I know. Anyways, so this comes up and then it's really simple, like you open it up on your email, you click on that, and it brings you right to the event. Yes,
Does that go to your members or?
goes to the whole district,
So you're only publicizing to Lions in that,
Yes.
yeah,
not your community.
correct. So the other parts for our community, now we're trying to target like, you know, or not target, but like, we're trying to hit your Lions members. I have a target. Flyer distribution. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. Is, you know, you have the old school flyers, right? You can get some pretty good deals on flyers. And if you have people that are Lions that do flyers and stuff like that, but they can just be a piece of binder paper and just put them on people's stores. So there's really different, flyers are like, I love flyers. A lot of people like social media, but you have to kind of do all of it. So the thing I was talking about is this is the QR code, right? So if you take you hand this thing out at a meeting, you scan that with your phone, it's gonna bring you right to the sign up. You don't have to type anything, you're just gonna bring you directly to the sign up. You put, I got 2 people, we want this, we're gonna pay here, and then it's off to the races, you're done. It'll also have information on the QR code of like, you know, so as we start moving towards the event, like things change, stuff like that, now you have everybody who's signed up, you have all of their information, their emails now. And now you have their contact for your next event. That's huge. We kind of found that on accident. Now you have all their information, so next time you have an event you want to promote it, you already have them locked in your system. So the QR code and the WooFoo sign up are huge deals. I can talk to you more in depth about that probably after. Or if John Huey was here, he's the one who got me into it. Now, the other way is, you know, radio or TV, pass it through the schools, like you said, through the rec center or your rec department, through your work. Anybody know who this is? It's Bob and Doug McKenzie, dude. Strange brew.
You betcha.
There you go. I got that from my Canadian friends. And then, dude, don't be like, oh, the Rotary. We're not in a gang fight, right? This isn't the 80s and the Bloods and the Crips, right? Contact your Rotary Club. We work with the Rotary Club all the time. They promote it. They support it. They come help us, right? We're not a gang rivalry here. If you have another service club in your community, tap them, use them. And you have to start slowly because, you know, there is that mentality. But I started out very slow with Mark Watson, just did a couple of events. And then by the time we were done, you know, we were running all kinds of events together and we were encouraging each other. So start out slow, but like I said, definitely don't, you know, write them off. This also is natural networking, right? So now you're gonna be like, hey, you know, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're gonna do this, or what are you guys doing? We're doing this event, right? Oh, cool, what's that for? Oh, the Lions. I've always thought about being a Lion. So now you just naturally network that person into becoming a Lion or helping you with the event, something like that. So it's all natural networking. Yes, sir.
In reference to the question about getting the community, I went to a similar seminar and they talked about paying for advertising on Facebook. And they reached thousands. You get to decide what groups you want to cater to, what age groups, and what boundaries in your community.
Target audience.
And for almost like just a few dollars, you can access hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah, it's called Boost. It's Boost.
Yeah.
$5 for
Be careful with it though, because sometimes it will automatically boost, right? And it will start just coming out of your account. So make sure you keep track of that. Whoever's doing the boost, make sure they get reimbursed. It works.
Yeah.
And
So
it
instead of,
Facebook advertising depends too on who else is advertising at the same time. If you set a limit of $100 and there's somebody who's paying $1,000 right now, your ad may only appear for 1 minute because it just got pushed out. So that's because I went to a workshop about Facebook advertising and
The chances are better if you stay pretty local.
yeah, you can keep it. You can keep the boost local. Okay. So thank you. 7, so now you're gonna execute the event or project, right? I think Mr. Peachy, you kind of recognize this project, we did the
Chicken coop.
chicken coops out in Half Moon Bay. So that took funding, that took sweat equity, and it took a lot of coordination, but that's kind of what that is. So you're gonna execute, now you're gonna get to work, you're gonna execute your committee's plan. You're going to make sure you have the volunteer coordinator and sign-up sheet finalized on the day that you're there, right? So remember remember the person we were just talking about, that's gonna coordinate the 2 lists. Gotta make sure they're there that day. If not, then you gotta find somebody else. And make sure they have the list right in front of them, what that person is gonna do, and their phone number, right? Because they're gonna be like, I can't find parking, I don't know where I'm gonna go, you got too many people here. So you have to have the volunteer sign-up coordinator there. And you have to make sure you have that on location, I explained that. So the part that I didn't explain is, please make sure you have positions for the people that signed up on your volunteer thing. Nothing more discourages a younger lion that just got a babysitter, right? Took off work early, whatever they did. So my generation is like, we have to put things aside to come volunteer, right? And when you get there and there's 5 people doing what you signed up for, you're gonna be like, dude, this is what I signed up for. You're gonna get discouraged. And then what happens is it's going to happen in the future too. So when you're looking for people to help, that person's gonna be like, why should I sign up? Last time I signed up, they had it all taken care of. You know, there was 8 guys on the barbecue, and I signed up for the barbecue and I couldn't even do it. So that was one of my first experiences as a lion. I showed up to barbecue and there were 6 lions barbecuing and I never even touched a spatula.
Because you gotta take care of those seasoned entitled members who don't sign up, you just show up and do what they've always been doing.
You have to have a leader that can tell them, you know how you slap a child on the hand when they, you know? You have to have a leader that can be strong enough to be like, hey man, you didn't sign up, I got Rob over here who signed up, I'm kind of need you to step aside for a minute. Trust me, it will cause all kinds of drama and it'll come up at a board meeting, blah, 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 but at least you establish that, you know, this.
With that, and Ken, it was, in our district, we had the barbecue master, Kevin Kilty. When he got to an event for your own club, Jimmy, and he thought he was gonna be barbecuing all day, it was his greatest joy as a seasoned lion to sit back and watch you guys run.
Yep.
So that's the other thing with seasoned lions, we have to remember, you've taught them well.
Yeah, he was super amped. And he came out of, he just had chemo.
Yeah.
And he told him this thing, he was expecting the barbecue, like, no dude, go home, we'll come back later. So anyway, and the last thing I wrote was, it's just plain rude, right? To take somebody's position over. So I went over that, and then the other thing, this is my favorite, make sure that volunteers have questions, right? And they're confused, or they want to do something different, right? They come to you, just guide them to the lead, right? Cashless payments, oh, we can do this better. Oh, you need to do this. I'm gonna send it to Mariah, because she's in charge of the cashless payments. There's no need for you to get in the mud on that. The other thing I've seen is don't argue in front of the public, right? Just because you have an issue, or maybe you're like, you know, not getting along with your friend or whatever, do not argue in front of the public. I've seen lions argue in front of a line of people.
Guilty.
I know, we all are. But even better, don't argue in front of kids. Okay, because that's our next generation. We're gonna lose this organization if we can't capture the kids, and they aren't gonna wanna have anything to do with a bunch of adults arguing with each other, because they're gonna be already doing stuff anyway. And remember, this event just turned into a natural networking. So anytime you have an event, right, it's a natural networking event, right? So you don't want to be, you know, arguing and cussing each other out because the public is watching you. You're on stage. People want to see, they're watching what you're doing. They're watching you flip the burgers. They're watching how you guys are interacting, right? These are people that might be interested in being lions, you know, later on, right? So if you're playing your cards right, you're being cool, then you won't get this. That's what you don't want. You don't want a couple of Karens talking about how me and Mariah were arguing and Mariah jumped over the table and hit me in the head. Yeah, it's good gossip, but it's not good for the organization or to get people involved in the organization. So after, this is gonna be called the debriefing after your event, very important. I do debriefings for every event, every city event we do. It's super crucial because you can figure out what went wrong, what went right, right? Two rights, yeah. So that's why you have to, any questions, we're kind of running out of time, but anything on debriefing and why it's so important? Yes, sir.
So that when somebody comes along and says, we tried that once and it didn't work, you can turn around and say, well, why didn't it work? And you have answers.
Don't you love those pins?
And you get to be able to say, well, we can make it work next time. We know what we did wrong this last time.
We do them all the time when you figure out like, you know, money problems or coordination problem or permits, you know, like things like that.
Well,
Yes.
fake it till you make it.
Yep.
No, seriously,
I know.
I'm sorry, our district took over Bike Around the Buttes, and last year, poor Mandy was doing parking by herself in 2 parking lots.
I heard it. I know.
You know, she had nobody. Fake it till you make it, but in the debrief, it's like, I'm sorry, you need more volunteers to help Mandy in the
Yeah.
parking lot. But
That's
that's
what
what the debrief is for, to clean up the things that didn't go as smooth as you wanted that could be improved.
Well, that's my point too. You don't want to do it during the middle of the event. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
Fake it
go
till
into
you
your
make
leads.
it.
Your lead will take it to the debrief.
I was at Bike Around the Buttes, and I had nothing to do because I was out at a feeding station for, you know, where it was silly. Yeah, they could have sent me to Helper Park.
Yeah.
I might have got to know her a little better.
She's cool. I like her. So,
She got her exercise, it was good for her.
so during this debrief, you're going to do a couple of things. You're going to do a volunteer analysis, right? Did that volunteer flake? Did they? I put flake. I'm sure there's a better word, but my California slang. So the Canadians love my California slang, by the way. They love it when I say hella. From south, you guys from down south don't even know it. Don't know that one. But anyways, did they flake? What's that volunteer's DNA? Do they work well with others in the club and in the public, right? These are a huge thing. Your leads should be kind of watching out for that. And then you're going to talk about, during your debriefing, how the networking went with the event. Get in front of the expenses at your debriefing, right? Talk about your expenses, your profits, and all that before you go to the committee and report. Even if you go to the committee meetings the next week, but we don't have it finalized yet, right? Just push it off. It's not the end of the world. Don't give some random number out there because those people, that number will be stuck in their head, and then you're stuck with that number in your head. Then you have to explain to them why
That number's
stuck in their head. So,
and why it's not the number.
now we're kind of done with that, so I want to ask you a question. Did we achieve the objectives that I set out in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bueller.
Bueller? Anyone? Yes, sir.
I might have missed it in one of those objectives, but what about the brand? What about the event?
So today I just kind of I'm going to do another one on the actual event. So like to dive into
That's part
that.
of the committee is to make sure.
Yeah. That's part of the committee to make the event, figure it out, but I will dive into that in another module. Yes, sir.
I came in late, so you have this on a PowerPoint that
Yeah. I have a video and I have a PowerPoint, yeah.
you need my email later.
Yeah, we'll give it to you in a minute. Yeah, I'll give you my card. So we met our objectives. Thank you very much. What time is it? Got about 1 minute, so I actually made it. Anything in the parking lot? Any other questions? I'm not going to go over each objective, but I think we did it. I did it with 1 minute to spare. Sorry, I was checking the time. But any questions? Yes, sir. And then you can fill that evaluation out. That'd be awesome.
Something about, we didn't talk about, that's come up. We did a project in the late '90s.
Ooh.
We helped raise money for a new Boys and Girls Club in Hatfield. It was targeted for our community, basically. And we did it was a successful event. We had a PDG in our district, John Stanley. They came up to us and said, how did you guys do that? So I said, well, we're gonna have another one in February, why don't you come? He came to it, and he came up to me after, he says, I understand now. He says, there's no lines from any other clubs here. It's just all the people in your community.
Yeah.
So it was a community-based project to raise money for this building. Well, with us and the Boys and Girls Club, we raised over 5 years, I think it raised $250,000 for this new building that eventually got built 20 years later. But you target who you want this fundraiser to go for. If it's Lions and everything, fine. If it's just a community, and that was one of the best things we did, was just for the community.
Exactly, that's what we do too. You're attaching the community or who you're serving to the event. Like when we were helping the volcano in Tonga, we had that community come support the event. It wouldn't have been a success without them. I think you guys did the skate park out there. I mean, you guys have a dynamic community in Half Moon Bay. And you guys did that skate park out there too, right? Yeah. That's one of my favorite projects that you guys have done, is that skate park. So, anything else? Miss PDG Penny Shoe? You good?
Oh, yes, the only thing, I used to, in certain communities, we use WeChat and WhatsApp and text messages as a means of communication, very prompt, fast communication. Other than, took the place of email.
How come everybody, like Michael Chan's been trying to get me on WeChat for years? I don't understand what the difference is.
Oh, different countries use different, they favor WeChat or they're very similar.
So what's the difference between texting and WeChat?
But see, that platform, you need to learn it because it's free. You can even call, you can send pictures, videos, you can talk on it, you can just press the button and talk. It can translate. It does a lot of things very, very fast. And so I think if we are, Lions International is very international, that works.
Now I have to check it out. You sold me on it. See, Michael Chan can't sell me on it, because I always want to argue with him, right? It translates too, yeah?
It's very good. It's been there for a long time now, and it's very good, especially if you're communicating globally.
That's WeChat.
WeChat and WhatsApp.
It translates all languages?
Some
Yeah.
use line,
Really?
you know, so.
It translates all languages.
Tongan?
And, yeah,
Yes.
Which one, WeChat or?
WeChat and WhatsApp. And they're both free app.
And you can call.
Lila has
The
it.
video calling for free.
It's international. Okay. Well, thank you guys all for having me, or coming and having me present to you guys today. I really appreciate it. And this is the first module. The next one, we're gonna probably get into the actual service projects itself. So, thank you guys very much. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys at the bar. I'll buy you a drink or something to show you. Thank you guys. And then the survey forms, can you hand those to Mrs. Vanna White there?
I did fill out the survey because I wasn't sure that's
Oh.
got mine.
Thank
Cool,
you.
right on, thanks man, we'll get you taken care of. Oh, here, it's just throw me an email there, and then, I'll shoot you over the presentation.
You're coming at me with a box
No,
of
this is rules of
slides.
reimbursement for the
Thank
dog.
you.
You're welcome.
How are you, Jenny? You
Oh,
good?
I sail around there. It's pretty when you're on the sailboat.
We used to ride bikes out there.
Remember that, there's an old, busted up automobile rusted.
Yeah.
How'd that get?
80s. They had, somebody asked me where Bear Island was, I was like, dude, it's just this great big marshland. And they go, why'd you pick that as your cyber club? I go, exactly, because there's nobody that lives there, and that's what we wanted.
You can't even supposed to be able to go on it.
No, I think it's protected. Somebody asked if you need to do a service project, I was like,
It's fun to sail around it though.
not after how many rows. No, you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to do like this. They said, they told me that you're not supposed to like, they don't want you like this, but then they don't want you to do like this. Yeah. I have to, I couldn't, and if it was longer, then I couldn't pay them. Yeah. How many hours did I have?
I don't think your really matter because you're so engaging, it's just who you are.
So it's not that I'm lost, it's a
No, it's a pause.
Yes, and I don't know where it
But
is.
you know what, in practice, I mean, especially when I started doing this all the time,
Okay. See, do you guys want to use my stuff, or are you guys good?
Maybe if we use your stuff, I don't have a thumb drive, so that would be kind of, I sent it to Manny. So I don't know if you want to use yours.
really cool.
Yeah, totally. You can use my projector and just hook your laptop up. You want me to hang out for a minute and I can show you how to hook it all up? I'm Jimmy, by the way. Jimmy. Nice to meet you, Stephanie. Good one.
How many times do you do first name
I
last,
know,
last name first?
So yeah, let me know. I got a sound. I have a sound system for the microphone. Or...
When he gets here, I'll have to talk to him.
Okay.
They started to do everything for me, now I cannot find
I like your music, good job. There is water.
I'll be back in a minute, I'm just down here.
How are you? Your hair's coming in real good.
San Simeon? No, I don't.
At least you got it. Yeah. At least you're here to have it grow.
Yeah.